you laughing?
I really thought you were gonna like grab the bag and be like, "Look, guys,
This is a podcast. They can't see me.
I hasn't stopped you before."
Hello, I'm Rachel.
I'm Victoria.
And I'm Farron.
We've been friends and classmates since childhood with a common love for good books.
Join us as we revisit the books from our literature class days, timeless reads, and everything in between.
Let's go back to lit class.
Welcome back to Lit Class. We are excited for today's episode. We're doing The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket from his series of unfortunate events. And yeah, we're excited that you're here. How is everyone doing?
I am doing really well. I just put my baby down, so I was doing some nice relaxing time watching Naruto, and that was nice. And then I fell asleep. And then Dayton woke me up right before I was supposed to record, and I was like, "Thank you." So
Good job.
that's how it's going.
I am doing good as well. Just happy that the sun was out today. It definitely gave me a boost of energy to get some stuff done.
Yeah, I got my boost of energy from all of the Girl Scout cookies that Victoria dropped off yesterday.
I'm jealous.
I'm eating so many of those.
How many of the 3 boxes do you have left?
Oh, it's so embarrassing. I'm not gonna say. Anyways, let's do some announcements. Everyone, gather around. Announcement time. Our big announcement for today is to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We are back to Lit Class there, and Victoria is absolutely killing it with all of the funny videos and posts and stories. So find us there.
Yes, and now is a good time to get in on following us because when we reach 100 followers on Instagram, which we are very close to doing, we are going to be doing a giveaway. So give us a follow and you'll be able to get in on that when we announce it.
Yes, it's so fun. You guys are hilarious.
We try.
All right, Victoria has all of our fun book facts and a summary for us for today's book. Go for it.
Yes, I definitely stole this part from Farron. I don't think she cares. I was just really interested in kind of learning about or reading about Lemony Snicket today because the book is such a quirky book. So I figured he has to be a kind of quirky or interesting person.
He does seem very quirky.
Mm-hmm. So Lemony Snicket is the pen name for the author Daniel Handler. His most notable works include a series of unfortunate events, which was published between 1999 and 2006, and has a total of 13 books in the series. The books have been adapted into a film and a television series. Another of his more notable works is a 4-part series titled All the Wrong Questions, which is a prequel to the series of unfortunate events.
Oh, I did not know there was a prequel. I saw the advertisements for that new series.
Correctly, it's like based off of the narrator character.
Lemony Snicket.
Oh, so we find out about Beatrice?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure it's more, is it more about like Beatrice and yeah, and Lemony Snicket and yeah.
So that I did not know was about the prequel, which is something I learned today. The book series is written for around ages 10 and up. The Bad Beginning is the book we're covering today, the first of the series, and it's described as a dark comedy children's book. It's the first in the series that follows the Baudelaire children, Violet the oldest, Klaus the middle, and Sunny the baby. The story begins with their parents dying in a house fire and follows them through their tragic misfortune of having to go stay with their distant relative, Count Olaf, who's only after their family fortune. The book says from the very first line, if you are interested in stories with happy endings, you would be better off reading some other book. And it's very true. The Baudelaire children suffer some really sad and terrible circumstances throughout this book and the series in general. So it's not a feel good read at all.
It's quirky though.
Yeah.
It handles a lot, like I said, it handles a lot of the situations in a more fantastical, whimsical, quirky way.
Yeah,
But
so it doesn't feel as depressing as like it would be just point blank.
yes.
Yeah. I don't remember feeling when I read them as, what were we, like middle school, maybe like beginning of high school when we read these books. I don't remember feeling like they were really sad or like awful. Like they were so interesting to me. I remember I could not wait for the next book to come out or for me to get the next book so that I could find out like what would happen.
I think I only read through maybe book 6 or 7, and I never finished the series because they were giving me like anxiety.
Oh, so maybe for you it was different.
I don't remember which one it was, but something happened and they made me really sad, and I remember getting like stomach aches, like nausea.
Oh, dang.
So, but I think I did read them like when we were a little bit younger.
I read them with my dad. I don't remember when I started, but I want to say around 6th grade, maybe.
I think that was mine too. And I read them with my dad too.
Yeah, we made it to 12 and a half. We got halfway through the 12th and we're just like we read them all the way until sophomore year of high school. And I remember just slowly losing interest in the books. They kept getting longer and longer and felt like they kept getting more convoluted. And I just honestly was getting a little bit bored of the characters. And we just quit.
I have more memory of books like 1 through like 6, 7, 8 than I do of the last. So probably we were kind of aging out of them, and
That made a big difference. Yeah. I felt like I was too old for the series by the time that we were getting to them, that we were finishing them up. But I mostly remember the first 3 books they stand out the most in my head. And honestly, I cannot remember almost anything about the last few I read.
I remember very like distinctly Mrs. B reading in 6th grade. Maybe it was 7th grade literature. I can't remember.
It was 6th grade because
Was
I
it?
wasn't there.
Okay. Yeah. I just remember the classroom and rereading the book. I remember I can still hear the way she voiced Sunny the baby. I don't remember any of the other voices, but for some reason, the way she voiced Sunny the baby, like I can still hear it in my head when I was like rereading the book.
yeah, I can hear her. Like now that you mention it, I can
Mm-hmm.
see her and hear her a little bit. That's so funny.
She would sit at the front of the room behind the podium and read a chapter. I
It was 6th grade, right?
think so.
That's starting to sound, I don't know.
Maybe. I don't remember. I remember one year we read The Little Prince, and I don't think we read The Little Prince with her.
I read The Little Prince in school with you guys, I thought.
Oh, it was in that 6th grade classroom. Yeah. Maybe it was 7.
That sounds more familiar to me. I don't know. All the years mashed together.
At some point, yes, they do.
And then you have the same teachers for like several years.
I can remember 6th grade pretty distinctly, and I can remember 8th grade pretty well, but 7th, I don't remember very much of anything happening in 7th grade.
That was when we got our first lockers.
Oh, yeah. That's when we got to play like more competitive sports.
I just remember I was really nervous about having a locker and not making it to class on time.
I remember being very nervous about that too. I remember having anxiety about having a locker and like being late for class, which every semester I like ended up getting the 4 tardies that you were allotted before you got a detention.
Never ever happened to me. So
I never ever had a detention.
Rachel and I did.
I did. I can remember sitting at Country Kitchen after like a basketball game, some kind of sport game. I'm guessing basketball because I was probably cheering. And I was with my sister and my parents. And my sister had already told my parents, but I didn't know that yet. And so I was like working up the courage to tell them. And when I finally did it, my sister like dies laughing and they laugh. They're like, we already know. But I was so scared. And they're like, it's fine. They knew it was like a crummy reason to give it attention. So
It was nonsense. I remember immediately like complaining to my parents about it.
Yeah, you weren't even worried about getting in trouble. You were just like, this dumbness.
You know what's also hilarious? I literally kept the detention slip for my scrapbook. I still have it somewhere.
memories.
Yeah, I was like, this is my one and only detention. I have to save it.
I also only got fined once.
Oh my gosh, I had so many fines. So many.
And it was so dumb too because I had my socks in my coat pocket and I was late to school and because I think I had like an orthodontist appointment or something before school, maybe. I don't remember, but we were like leaving to go to church. So I got there, put my stuff in my locker, and immediately like turned around to like walk across the street to church. And Dr. Register said, "Where's your socks, Victoria?" And I said, "Right here in my hand, Dr. Register." And he goes, "I'm going to have to give you a detention." And I'm like, "I can put them on literally right now."
Oh, a fine, right?
No,
Like not
a
a
fine.
detention.
Oh, yeah, fine. Sorry, a fine. And I was, "Are you serious?" And he was very serious because I got one. I was so mad.
Dr. Register didn't play around.
I was dead set on graduating with no detentions and no fines. And he did not want that.
I didn't have very many clothing, like dress code fines, and those were $4. Clothing fines were $4, and candy and gum fines were $2. And I had a lot of candy and gum fines.
I had more dress code fines. I think a lot of not tucking in my shirt.
You wore a lot of hoodies.
I would wear a lot of hoodies and I would try to get away with not wearing a belt.
Yeah.
Because it would cover it.
If you guys can't tell, if this makes it into the podcast episode, we went to a Catholic high school where we had a dress code.
We had to wear belts, pants with belt.
We had to wear socks with our shoes.
Above the ankle, like visible socks.
Unless you were wearing like ballet flats, girls could wear a type of no-show sock, but you still had to kind of see the no-show sock. And you had to tuck in your shirt, and you couldn't wear anything graphic on your shirt unless it was a school t-shirt.
Or it was 4x4 in the corner.
4 inches by 4 inches, smaller than that, like logo.
Yeah, or like a pattern or a school spirit t-shirt, sweatshirt, whatever.
And obviously no leggings, sweatpants.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not.
Unless it was dress down day.
Girls couldn't show any chest. We had to wear all the tank tops, camis under our t-shirts.
I remember getting called into the office one day to get my skirt measured.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with Courtney. And she got fined and I didn't. I was like right on. And that skirt was pulled, I swear, halfway down my butt. And well, the crazy thing is, like, I passed, but the way that they did it was your finger. It was like your fingers. And so that fell differently on a lot of different people. And so I could get away with a very short skirt where other people had to wear like a really long skirt.
Yes.
So it didn't really make any sense how they measured that.
Yep. All right, let's get back on track.
Yes. What were we talking about? The bad beginning.
What do you guys think the main message of the book is? Like, why do you think the author wrote it? What do you think? Is there any meaning behind it? Is it all just supposed to be fun and quirky, or did he have like some kind of message in mind?
Well, I think something that stands out a lot in the book is the vocabulary. Like, I feel like it's definitely to teach kids. That's part of it. Some vocab words. I don't know. That stood out to me a lot.
Yeah, and his use of alliterations, like all of the books are, like the titles of the books are alliterations. Bad Beginning.
Briny Beach.
Yeah.
The Briny Beach is actually a nod to Alice in Wonderland.
Is it?
Really?
All of his books have literary references in all of them.
Yeah, well, most Mr. Poe's children's names are Edgar and Albert Poe, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, Olaf is something from a French poet. Baudelaire is a French poet. Lemony Snicket is a play on Jiminy Cricket. Beatrice is something with like poetry, I think. All like the briny beach was something is where the walrus and the carpenter song takes place from Alice in Wonderland. I was reading. That was the stuff that I was reading about when I looked him up, which I thought was super cool. I love little hidden gems like that in a book that aren't, I mean, obviously some of them are more obvious, like Poe and
Mm-hmm.
Baudelaire, but other ones are a little more, you have to know more
And it
about them.
feels like a little Easter egg.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. I don't know if he has like a certain meaning behind the book necessarily, especially after reading an interview by him. He basically just said in the interview that tragedy or bad stuff, the problems, all of that make a book more interesting and give it a place to go versus just happy, happy, happy. I'm trying to look up in the interview with NPR, he said, when I'm confronted with a blank page and I want to think of something happening, it just tends to be something terrible, which I guess has a long tradition in literature. I mean, I'm always at a loss to think of a book in which only happy things happen. Maybe Happy All the Time by Laurie Colwin. But most books, it seems to me, have at least a threat of something dastardly happen, so that it just seems entirely natural to me that if you want a plot to be interesting, then terrible things have to be on the horizon.
Yeah, that's why like every Disney movie you have parents that die or like something tragic happens because that's kind of what propels the story.
I mean, I do think that there's some aspect in the book of children getting let down by the system.
Yeah,
I feel
maybe.
I don't know if it's intentional or not, but that's just kind of the vibe I got of like Mr. Poe almost being, like the social worker or other adult who could be helpful, even the neighbor, the judge,
Yeah, Justice Strauss.
someone that you feel like would have a lot of influence and power to help them in a situation, kind of completely ignoring them living in an abusive home for a short period of time. Even when they went to seek help, they were told like he's allowed to parent you how he wants to parent you and not really taking them seriously. Uh, which I mean, as the books go on, that's kind of Mr. Poe's whole character is he's kind of a dunce,
Yeah.
a little bit flighty and clueless.
I feel like all the adults are.
Yeah, it's just a common theme in the book.
Yeah. They're just clueless.
But that was something that I definitely took away from reading the book this time around as an adult. Did you, for a children's book, did you guys enjoy reading it?
No. I
I didn't hate it. That's how I feel. I didn't hate it.
but I didn't love it.
See, I thought it's written in a way which touches on the point you brought up with the vocabulary words or the more, mature language and the quirkiness of it, I thought made it read a little bit more fun for an adult reading it. It wasn't boring.
No. I don't think it was like boring. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
For a book written for 10-year-olds, I think it was a decent read to read as an adult still.
Yeah, but comparing it to like Holes and The Giver and
Oh, see, I enjoy it. I enjoyed it more than Holes.
oh, I didn't.
I think it has more of like the fantastical fantasy aspect, which I enjoy.
My husband and I were debating on what genre of book this series would have been because I thought like, would it be fantasy? And then we looked it up and it was like that dark humor was kind of the main consensus.
But it definitely has fantastical elements to it. In the second book, I mean, the guy he has like a huge reptile house.
Oh yeah, like all of them do.
And
Yeah.
and just the descriptions of buildings and
Would it be like magical realism? Maybe? I don't know.
well, that's why I said kind of fantastical.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really fantasy, but it's not really real world.
Yeah, I like can't get past Sunny and her teeth. I can't get past
Oh, I think that's funny.
it. I think some of them are cute. And then I remember like reading them like as it goes on, it gets more and more ridiculous. I was like, I don't know. I remember reading it as a kid and being like, I can't get past this.
I just
But-
thought it was funny because that's what babies actually do. When Sunny says gack and the narrator says she means that to say, yes, please take me out to the garden. That sounds more pleasant than this.
I did like that aspect of it.
I was gonna say he also does a really good job of very descriptive writing, which allows you to really picture you know what I mean? It's not he walks up the steps. He walks up the creaky, crooked steps that where you have to avoid sharp edges so you don't get a splinter. I don't know. He just takes it kind of one